Hey everyone, Spicy Toast Gaming here. Hope you have a great day. Hope this video can make it a little bit better for you. This video is going to be part of or taken from stream. While I was streaming, someone asked what champions I think are going to be coming in the new event we're getting in a few weeks with an update. It's going to be a rogue theming event. And so we just went down breaking through all the different regions of what champions we think are going to kind of fit potentially for the next patch and new event. Now, this is all obviously speculation and just guesswork, so don't take any of this too seriously. I don't actually have any idea about what champions we are getting, but I thought many of you would also find this interesting. And definitely let me know down below what champions you think are going to fit for this rogue event, and I hope you enjoy the video. All right, let's look at what champions we think we're going to be getting. So first we'll go over to look at auction. Oh, that was, yeah, wrong place. Let's need to go to collections. All right, the main reason we're thinking this is just because he's normally called like the rogue something. The Rogue Sentinel is his title in League. I think there's a high chance we get him just because he literally has Rogue in the name. And then he is also roguish of kind of breaking laws and being the sort of morally gray character. And he's also Shereima. Shereima is one that we don't have a ton of champions for at the moment. So that's something we need to consider, is not only what champions fit, but what champions do we need more regions for. So if we look at Shereima, they currently have 4. Well, actually, no, they have 3. Nidalee is not there. And so they still have one of the lowest. Yeah, we recently got Nasus, but they could use another one. So I think Shereima is very likely. And them getting auction, I always want to say Otacon. Auction should work. And then if we take a look at, I keep hitting the wrong button every time. If we look here, we did recently, or we just got Leona, and we did recently get Kale. But Yuumi counts as Bandal, and so really they still only have 3 Constellation champions, which again is like tied for being the lowest. Now I think Diana does fit more of the roguish theming, so I think she or her getting added. And if not, like for all these champions, I'm not saying necessarily this patch, I'm saying this event. So either this patch or next event or next patch after, next 2 months, next 2 patches, is both going to be in the rogue event. So these are just some of the champions that I'm thinking. As far as another one that like it partially works, partially not. Actually, it works better than I thought. I knew that we had a lot of Bilgewater champions, but I just kind of thought we had more constellations. But again, Bilgewater, we only have 3 constellations, which again, tied, I think, for the lowest. I think the lowest ones all have 3 right now. So we could get some ones here. I think both Jack as well as Neela could kind of fit this sort of rogue theme. So either of them getting added, I would lean more towards Jack, but I think Neela could also kind of fit there as well. So one of them I think would be decently likely. I mean, or technically both. Let's look at the other regions. We haven't got a Bandal champion forever, but we do have 4 of them, which again, not tied for the lowest. None of these really feel that roguish to me. When I think of rogue, I don't really think of Yordle personally. So I feel like the most would be maybe Nar. Yeah, Twisted Fate is another one that definitely... Twisted Fate is one that could work. That's something, yeah, we'll need to look at people outside of this region for right now. Right now, we're kind of focusing on these areas. Demacia, we technically have 3, but also Demacia and Rogue don't really go together. Like, I think Vayne could kind of work, but she's already there. Fiord, the champions we have currently, none of them I think fit. Maybe we look at the outside region, but do note, while we did just get Tryndamere, they are again tied for the lowest, and I think what they're trying to do is really fill out some of these regions that don't have a lot. Ionia, we again just have 3. I think Set could work as far as roguish, so I think Set would be a possibility. We have a decent amount here, and I would think like Samira would work, but yeah, since we already have 4, I think we're probably fine. I think that we're probably going to have maybe like a Noxus event when we get Mel in the future. Again, I don't really think roguish for Shadow Isles personally. And then like this is one of the regions where we actually have a decent amount. Now I think like Jax or potentially Kayn down here, or even like Varus, I think some of those could work, but this is a region we do have a lot. Let's go back out and look at champions that aren't in the game yet. I mean, I should own all cards, but regardless, we'll just click that there. Let's go for champions. So for Bandal, Tristana or Poppy, these two, or even Rumble. And we did see that Rumble had like kind kind of a teaser in one of their dev blogs a little while ago. So I'd say these three I could see as roguish. Or I mean, like Fizz kind of could work as well. So there's a couple Yordles that could work. For Bilge, Twisted Fate would be the one that I think would be the best. You could maybe also say Gangplank, but Twisted Fate would really work for roguish. That's a good call there. And again, like maybe the Fizz. Demacia, maybe Lucian. Yeah, kind of for me, when I think roguish, the only one that would kind of work for me would be Lucian. I like to think that roguish might also be interpreted as mischievous, so Teemo or Fizz could be good choices. That is possible. Like, that's one reason I'm thinking for Fizz. Oh, I don't have that rogue map handy myself. Poppy is in an adventure. Poppy's in the Fizz adventure as the mini boss. Silas makes a lot of sense for Demacia. I mean, we don't have Silas yet. Toast, I could argue some characters are roguish that you say wouldn't fit. What do you think in roguish means out of curiosity? So roguish, there's a couple different ways to think of it. One is a character that is a little bit more morally gray. They're okay with breaking the rules to try to do what they think is right. I think a good example of that would be like Akshan. He is kind of the Robin Hood kind of type figure of seemingly stealing from the rich to give to the people that need it more. And then he's also someone that is like a good guy, but is willing to do what you would argue be morally incorrect things. So that's one element of it. Another roguish is someone that is more willing to kind of be on their own, and they're not as part of like a group. They're more independent. I think that's another aspect of being a roguish type character. Some of it would just being kind of sly and kind of clever, but it kind of, the stereotype for rogue is someone that's kind of on their own. So that's kind of one of the things that I'm also looking at. So for some of these, when they seem like they're more a part of established like group, like Shyvana, Garen, like all the like Demacia people that are part of the Demacia military, that to me is like the opposite of roguish, because they are part of an established group and they are very much people that are following the rules to their generally strictest sense. So that's kind of the opposite of the rules. Where Lucian, he's out kind of on his own, or him and his wife, if she's still currently alive, when depending on the time of Lucian you're thinking. And he seems more like someone that is going to go out there and try to get results, even if he has to do something that is, I don't know, not... He's going to do what he needs to do to get the job done. So I feel like Lucian would kind of work as a rogue-ish character, and I think he'd be a lot of fun. Roguish, yeah, is also someone that can be like a thief, because also in games, rogues are the sneaky people, picking locks, stealing stuff. That's also kind of a whole rogue type of mentality. So I think Twisted Fate would really work for that as well. Again, someone you might be considered morally gray though. Poppy, the fact that she is on her own. I mean, like for here they have her in a group, but especially for like her lore, she's traveling around with her hammer trying to find the hero it belongs to. So because of that sort of more independent aspect, I consider her a little bit more roguish, but she is one that's a little bit more of a stretch, in my opinion. I would agree that, it's a little bit more out of the box. Vayne is another one that, while she's already in the game, she is someone that, even though they added this, like, group following her, which all of her cards are great. I love all of her artwork for her whole package, but she's still someone that is, like, very independent, going to go and get the job done, and she's also a very morally gray person of she's going to kill anyone that she thinks is like tainted or evil, and a lot of people kind of think of her as a villain because she's killing people that they know and used to love or care about. Anyways, let's go for Freljord. I feel like most of Freljord would be a little bit more of a stretch. I don't know. I feel like both Trundle or Udyr would be kind of a stretch, and yeah, most of the characters here don't really seem roguish to me. I think Udyr is probably someone that is very independent and is going to do what he thinks is right, which could be wrong to some people, but still in general, like anyone I think that they would choose in Freljord that we have here, I think is going to be a little bit of a stretch. All of the Sentinels are rogues? Yeah, pretty much. That is actually a good point. I kind of didn't even think the fact that we have Akshan and Vayne that are both Sentinels. Yeah. A rogue is someone who broke away from their rank in games. Rogues are usually classes that rely on thievery, assassination, and light melee weapons. Yeah. Okay, my idea as a rogue in this context is your typical traits: live, swift, good at hiding, sleight of hand, backstabbing. They can be good people who do bad things sometimes, but the idea of a rogue or roguish character is design-wise that they are swift, deadly, and cunning. Teemo isn't exactly cunning, but he's definitely swift and deadly. My definition is definitely more mechanical, where I think yours is a specific flavor point of view. Yeah, and that's the thing. For a lot of these characters, I am kind of factoring in the fact that most of these rogue characters are going to be cheaper, just because those are the characters that often have like quick attack. They're trying to hit the board early. They're trying to be aggressive. That is more of a kind of roguish mentality, which I think is going to be fun. This patch, we're probably going to get a bunch of like 1, 2, and 3 cost units, which will be a good time because we don't really get those units that often anymore. For me, the next patch will be Diana and Akshan. I think that's very likely. Yeah, Freljord, I think everyone is a stretch there. Ionia, I would kind of think Ahri could be somewhat roguish, but she's already at a 6-star. I think Aurelia is a little bit of a stretch. I think Zed actually would work out really well. I could see Zed is probably the best for a rogue. I think he would work, which would be awesome if we got Zed. That'd be really cool. But yeah, Ionia, a lot of them there I think would be a little bit more of a stretch. Riven would work for a rogue. She's very much on her own. She's going to do what she thinks is right, but is also kind of like morally questionable. Zed or Kennen, but more Zed? Yeah. Zed makes a good amount of sense for Ionia. I think, yeah, Samira is one that would be the best. Katarina would actually work out super well, because she fits a lot of the like other aspect of rogue of deadly, fast, nimble, striking from the shadows, assassination. Hey, Captain, we're talking about who we think might be coming from the rogue event in the next 2 months. But Katarina is probably the best bet. Because, yeah, there's a lot of different ways you can interpret rogue, but she fits very well the assassination type of element to it. So that would be another one. Like, really talking through this, a lot of the champions, at least we're thinking of that would fit for rogue, I think could be really, really fun. I hope it's not Zed, because I only have one Ionia Crystal. I want Aurelia. Rumble, yeah, I feel like Rumble, in a sense, is kind of roguish. Like, he's... For me, being independent is a big aspect of it, like being able to just kind of have the strength to go out and do your own thing, even if a lot of other people think you're crazy, or just kind of not really caring what other people think. So I think he's, for Bandal champions, relatively roguish, but most of Bandal is, yeah, not really the best for it. Left Bandal went on his own, does what he wants. Yeah, so that like independent aspect, Rumble kind of fits that, but the other elements of roguish are a little bit of a stretch. PNZ, I don't think that they would do anyone from here just because we have so many champions. I guess Ezreal could be somewhat considered roguish in some sense, because I feel like the explorer type of archetype, you'd think most explorers are kind of roguish. The true rogue from Bandal isn't in the game, the mighty Kled. I thought Kled was Noxus. Oh, you said, yeah, Bandal. For some reason, when you said Bandal, my mind auto-corrected to PNZ. yeah, that checks out. Shadow Isles... It's like, I suppose Callista could kind of work. I think Elise would be a little bit of a stretch. Granted, if they did Elise, I wouldn't really be that upset. Senna is a Sentinel, and yeah, all the Sentinel ones do kind of give off that roguish energy, so that's potentially possible. But yeah, I would kind of doubt we're going to get Shadow Isles these next 2 patches. Although, how many do we have? We have Kindred, Vex is technically Bandal, so Viego. Wait, do we really only have 2? Am I forgetting someone? Isn't it just Viego and Gwen? Because yeah, Vex is technically Bandal. If that's the case, then they have the lowest amount. I would think that they would want to actually do Shadow Isles, but none of the Shadow Isles one really speak Bandal to me. Luxter lol, thank you for the follow, appreciate it. Interesting. Let's go to Shereima. So we already said Akshan. Sivir would also be one that really fits the rogue aesthetic, her being a mercenary, and I feel like mercenary and rogue are kind of synonyms in some aspects. Yeah, both of them would be really good. I feel like there's some others that could be like kind of a stretch, like maybe a Renekton. But yeah, both of those would be really, really good. For Targon, we have Diana, which would really work. Aphelios hits a lot of the roguish aspects, so that could be the case. Yeah, I think Diana or Aphelios would both be pretty good. And then Rune Terra, we have a decent amount. Granted, Ryze would really fit the rogue, well, one part of the rogue aesthetic of just being on your own and doing your own thing, because he's pretty much like an exile, kind of. And like, yeah, Kane would work. I feel like Jin half fits. Jax definitely, I would say, fits the rogue aesthetic. But again, we have a decent amount of Rune Terra. Please build for our champ. I have 3 useless Novas sitting in my inventory. Yeah, same. For builds, we have a decent amount. I feel like Fizz could work, Neela could work, Jack could work, and Twisted Fate definitely works. So I think any of them would be pretty good. We need Rise, more alt WinCon. That would be fun, but I kind of doubt we're going to get it. Pantheon being a Wanderer. Horror King, obviously the true morally gray character. Yeah, kind of thinking about it, there is actually a decent amount of champions that could work. And sure, there's some that are like a little bit of a stretch based on your interpretation of what you think rogue really means, but a lot of them I think are going to be very fun because they're going to be, I would think, generally very cheap champions of like a 1, 2, or 3 cost. And those champions are normally incredibly strong and fun because you can just consistently drop them turn 1, which is going to be a good time because most of the champions we've gotten have been relatively expensive, like 4 cost or higher. We got Ahri, but that was a while ago. Like most champions we've been getting recently have been more expensive. Like obviously we've had the Titanic event, and so most Titanic champions are going to be bigger, but other than the initial ones we got with the Constellation, so like Nora, Yumi, Nico, all those like 2 costs, I feel like the only other one we've gotten has been Ahri. I feel like everything else is, well, Warwick was a 3 cost. But yeah, more have been hitting like the 4, 5 cost or higher. My bet is Twisted Fate and Akshan. I think both of those are really good, and then probably going for a Diana or a Felios, I think would be also relatively likely. Adding Shaco would be pretty hilarious. But yeah, if we go for Shadow Isles, yeah, I always feel like they have one other one, but it's just these 3. It's been these 3 since pretty much the beginning when Constellations first came out. So we actually haven't gotten a new Shadow Isles champion. I mean, I wouldn't be upset if they went for Elise. Like, I don't think she necessarily works out great, but she is fun. Hope you enjoyed that. If you did, like and subscribe, always appreciated. Also, if you want to see me streaming live, there's a link to my Twitch channel down below. And if you want to get more notifications of when I go live, or if you just want to talk to like-minded gamers and individuals, there's also a link to our Discord down below as well. Thanks again, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.